head count. We had 7.5.
Community leaders joined Delta Airlines flight attendants in Atlanta recently to learn about the employees' efforts to gain representation in a legally binding contract. It's been a struggle, flight attendants said, with Delta managers wrestling with them every step of the way. Mary Ann Bixler, a former Delta flight attendant supervisor who is now a union activist, described how she was told to harass anyone distributing union literature in crew lounges or talking with other flight attendants about a union.
I have to tell you that there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that is not known, and there's from good sources, about $10 million a year is spent on anti-union campaigns with Delta Airlines, just Delta. They spend about $10 million a year to keep us from forming a union. Now, just in your mind, imagine what it would be like if they spent that $10 million on us.
John Jablonski described how Delta disrespects flight attendants, relating the story of a Portland-based flight attendant who was terminated for testing positive for drugs, despite her protests and those of her colleagues that she was innocent.
Absolutely correct. However, until a Delta pilot was terminated for the same exact problem, and Alpha stepped in to prove that the lab was wrong and management was wrong, nothing was done.
For Kimmy Vasic, a pre-merger Northwest flight attendant, the thought of not having representation and a contract for the first time in her 24-year career is terrifying. She said she has been trying to find out more about Delta.
All of a sudden we're merging with an airline that doesn't have a union, and I have to find out what that's all about. And I find out it's not good. And
Nan Orrick, a Georgia state senator, praised the flight attendants for their determination to win a voice on the job.
That's why you and many of us up here were moved to tears at some of the accounts today, because we know the power of the truth. And you're here today because you understand that, and you're on the right side of history, you know. And we are in the moment when we're going to win. You're going to win this struggle.
Another state senator, Vincent Fort, was outraged by the report the week before that Delta executives are taking millions of dollars even while their company is losing money.
When I hear that a CEO is making $17 million a year, I sat there, I'm not good at math, but I could put down some numbers, and that's 250 times what you're making. 250 times, and that doesn't include the perks.
Fort says this culture of greed by the new Delta executive team has transformed the company.
While we acknowledge their central role in this region's economy, in this country's economy, let's tell the truth about them. The Delta of today ain't the Delta of yesterday.
To Atlanta minister, the Reverend Timothy McDonald, the biggest threat by the new Delta is a culture of fear.
One of the things that I have noticed is this culture of fear. It's not unique to Delta. Any time that the people's will to organize begins to raise its head, there are those in power who seek to create this culture of fear and intimidation. And what they do is they isolate workers.
For Delta flight attendants, the answer is straightforward, as expressed by Linda Sorensen, who has been with the company for more than 40 years.
When I began this job, it was not considered a profession. It was a job women took to find a husband or to see the world. Today, men and women are making this career, raising families and retiring. The new Delta will be setting the standard for flight attendants all the world over. This is not about what I want today. It's about what I want to leave the Delta flight attendants for the future. I wish to leave this company a better place, a place where workers have the right to negotiate an industry-leading contract.